Well, let's dig into all of this. Joining us now is Sassan Ghahramani, President and CEO of SGH Macro Advisors. Sassan, it's great to have you back on the show. Welcome.
Thanks for having me on, Morgan and John.
You know, we talk about strategic ambiguity as policy as it relates to Taiwan. I wonder if we're seeing a version of that play out right now in real time in terms of U.S. decision-making around leveraging this moment to get Iran to the table for more extensive nuclear negotiations versus the possibility of us becoming more directly and offensively involved in this conflict alongside Israel. How do you game this out right now? And are we on the cusp of an unprecedented move by the U.S. to enter this war?
Yes, I refer to Amy Jabert's earlier comments that said that President Trump is ambivalent towards getting more deeply involved in Iran. I think we know that, but that doesn't mean that we won't, we being the United States. In fact, we put out a report to our clients yesterday called Finishing the Job. There's been a couple of series of events that, despite Trump's eagerness to bring Iran to a nuclear deal, has sort of derailed the process. One is the breakdown in the actual negotiations themselves over the issue of whether Iran can have any enrichment at all or partial enrichment. Iran dug in on that. They went very aggressive. And the second was Israel taking matters in their own hands to some extent, with a nod to the U.S., but really Israel taking the lead with the military strikes. Now, the Trump is clearly hesitant to enter into endless wars and so on, and wants to bring Iran to a deal. But if Israel backs down, or if we go into negotiations without taking out the Fordo nuclear plant in particular, it will be more of the same. Iran has already, indicated in many different ways that, yes, we want to come back to the table, but they're still putting conditions on. And so even though we don't want, regime change or, that kind of instability, obviously some people wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
I don't think the administration wants that. I do think that we end up going in and hitting the Fordo nuclear plant with buster bombs.
And of course, when we're talking about the Fordo, nuclear enrichment site, we're talking about a site that's buried something like half a mile down into a mountain. And there's a lot of speculation that really the only truly effective way to take that site offline is to drop these GBU-57 bunker-busting bombs that are made by the U.S., only for the U.S., carried by a U.S. plane, the B-2 stealth bomber, which, of course, is what we reference when we talk about the U.S. getting more directly involved in this conflict. How much, if that step were to be taken, how escalatory is it in regards to this conflict? What does it mean for oil prices? What does it mean for defense spending? What does it mean for U.S. involvement in this part of the world in a more meaningful way again?
Yeah, after our report, we got a lot of questions from clients. They're interested in the same things that many other people in the financial markets are interested in particular, the escalation levels and what it means for the closure of the potential of the Straits of Hormuz, which would be, have major implications for oil prices. Our working assumption, and I feel relatively confident in this, is that the retaliatory measures that people are talking about and Iran is threatening are one, the capabilities are far exaggerated. We've seen Iran militarily diminished as essentially a paper tiger to some extent. I'm not saying it's nothing, but second is on the political side is the will of the Islamic regime to really escalate into a regional conflict is not there. And I harken back to a comment from a very good friend of mine, Karim Sajjadpour, one of the great Iran analysts, when analyzing this Islamic government. He said the Islamic Republic leaders are homicidal, but they're not suicidal, and we have to keep this in the background.
So Sassan,